guys, today for me is all about low blows. And you know what I'm saying. That should have been a red card for Gianluca Scamacca against Mancini. The fact that the referee did not call that one out. Ooh, come on, man. We need VAR in there. You can't kick a guy in his area and get away with it, man. Come on. Otherwise, I thought this was a really spirited performance today by the Giallorossi. There's so many things to take into consideration when you include AFCON, player absences, player injuries, the diffidati, those who were perhaps staying a little bit more reserved. Well, I guess that narrative doesn't really fit Gianluca Mancini going into this one, but players who really were hodgepodge, or I should say there was a lot of patchwork for Mourinho to do heading into this one. But thank you guys for joining. I'm Wayne Gerard. First off, let me know how this is sounding. I want to make sure that my audio is okay because I had to click a little button here because I'm in a new space. I have a new computer and I'm just getting used to everything right now. But I hope you like my graphic. That's by 24 Designs. If you need any type of work done, graphic stuff, just reach out to me and he's usually in this chat. But aside from the referee not giving that red card to Scamacca, I mean, overall this was like a decent match, and I see a lot of people coming in now. Yes, so as Alex tells us in the comments here, Christensen playing as the center back. Apparently this is something he did at Leeds before coming over. He's a bit more used to it than, let's say, Selik. I thought he did good. He's got the physicality, he's got the endurance, and he seems to have the intelligence as well. Now, I think back to the early goal, Koop Miners, fantastic center attacking center mid. Do I really blame Karsdorp? No, honestly I don't. I don't like to make excuses for any player, but for him to be in the box on that, look, Koop Miners is an extremely good player. He's probably somebody this is his last season at Atalanta. I think he's going to be going either like to Juventus or even the Premier League. So I think he's just like another level. He gets above Karsdorp, who probably should have not been marking him at all. That should have been a center back's job. But things got a little bit mixed up today. Look, it was a 3-5-2. It was the usual formation with many different types of players. But as Alex says here, just to start off, yeah, Christensen was good. Lukaku, poor. I was disappointed with Lukaku today. I thought that he just seemed a little out of it. Some of the best opportunities came off on his weak foot, and he couldn't make the most of them. There's a couple things which didn't go his way, but overall, I didn't think it was enough. I kind of think he looked like last season's Lukaku rather than the one that we saw for the first 3 months this season. Okay, we also know that Pinto has called it a day for Roma. The former Benfica man, sporting director, leaves now, and he has an article. We'll probably mention a couple things, but if you want to check out more of the hot quotes, you can go onto my Twitter and see there. Vincent's here, says, hello, referee was awful. Yes, Atalanta should have been at least 10 men at the very end. And the crossing, look guys, whether it was Spinazzola or Zalewski or Karsdorp, the crossing was like amateur today. It was very surprising how poor it was. Also, as Paul mentions here, fast-paced towards, at the very end of this match, we see the players completely gassed. They were so done. They know that they have a midweek fixture coming up, that Roma does, at least, against Lazio. So there's a derby in the Coppa Italia on the horizon. Alex says that Llorente cost us some games, and it's good Jose saw that even though there was no replacement. So who comes in but the newcomer, the 18-year-old, Huijsen. I had to check my notes real quick. Huijsen comes in, and honestly, I thought he did pretty good, but I do have some questions here. And I want to know your thoughts before I say anything further. Is Huijsen being put in? Is that Mourinho completely without options? Or is he making a point to the management at that point? I think he's just playing whoever is best, whoever is most useful to him at that moment. I don't think he's making any type of statements. I think he's very well aware of what's going on with the club, with the limitations for financial fair play. We know that Roma had 1.5 million euros of mobility this transfer market before they could sell anybody, and that's dire. It's there's no other way to put it. It's terrible. Is the volume low, HH, or let's see, maybe something's going on with my microphone here, or let's check check real quick. I know we got a good group in here today. Um, hmm, that's strange. I wonder what's going on with that. Let me know if that volume is any different right now. I might have to make a switch real quick into my microphone. Just stay with me. Guys, perhaps this made a bit of a difference. Let me know as soon as you can. Had to, like I said, I'm squirreling around a little bit today with some new tech. So I'm using a new computer, and I don't have my regular connection. Apparently, Apple converted everything to it's using your webcam mic instead of your. No, it shouldn't be, unless if let me try to remove my share. Maybe this will make a difference. Let me know if that's anything different now. It's frustrating, but like I was saying, it went to a USB 4, so it should be just jumping into my mic right now. Darn, that's weird. Mic is still off. Mic is still off. That's not good. Weird. No, that's edit mic settings. Sounds like your PC mic or something. Mic volume, echo cancellation, reduce mic background noise. Anything different now? Any improvement? Let me know. Keep that coming in. Adjust mic volume, reduce mic noise. Anything now? Strange. This is bugging me. If thanks, it's my wife's hoodie. If not, I'm just gonna jump into my headset real quick. Let's see if we got that on tap. Of course not. Nope. No difference. Okay. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna jump and get my headphones, and that'll definitely be an improvement. Oh man, come on. Let's see where these headphones are. Give me 1 sec. Yikes, this is strange. It's really not coming in. I don't understand what it could be because it's going into my microphone. Like it's connected into my mic. So, and it's telling me that it's coming straight from my microphone, so I'm not sure at all what it could be. Let me know if there's any difference. Microphone settings. It's still my usual. I'll check my computer one more time. Oh man, guys, nothing. No difference at all. This is getting to be ridiculous. I can't go into my room either because the baby's sleeping and my wife's sleeping, and I think I threw my headphones somewhere in there because my headphones are of course gone right now. Oh, what a bummer. Somewhat, yeah, but that's not good. Let me look around the house one more second. I might sneak into the room. Give me 1 sec.
Oh man. All right. I think we're good now. Let's turn this around. This camera. We'll go to back camera. Oh my gosh. So embarrassing. Anyway, let's see if we can get back to business here. Now we're just running off a simple headset. Oh my gosh. I run into my room and I run into the bedroom. My wife's like barely awake, baby's sleeping. And I'm like, I'm looking for my headphones in the middle of a live stream. She's like, right now? I'm like, yeah. She's like, are you looking for your white headphones? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, they're in the ball pit. The ball pit's downstairs, right next to me. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But that's been the week, guys. Everybody's sick. Today's like a day. I would have went skiing. I would have had like a nice day, but like my whole family's sick. My sister's family got me sick. It's been one of those weeks, and this is just I think like the epitome of that. But thank you so much for sticking with me. Anyway, let's run through some of these comments, my friends. Okay, ref was terrible. Yeah, he was. Vincent says he'd prefer El Shaarawy as left wing back rather than Spinazzola and Zalewski. So in the 82nd minute, El Shaarawy comes in, right, and he gives us that spark. It's exactly what Mourinho wanted out of him. He wanted to see a player who could give you something. Do I think El Shaarawy is somebody who should be a starter? I don't know. I don't think he has the quality or the endurance to be the starter as a left wing back in the defensive situation, right? Because Mourinho wants defense first. Is El Shaarawy that guy? I think if you're going to press and you're going to play possession, he offers you a little bit more than what Zalewski can, than even Spinazzola. By the way, I think Spinazzola is kind of done. I think it's best that he goes to Saudi Arabia now. His end product is atrocious. I just don't see him getting back into it. Um, I never want to give up on players. And I think the most diplomatic way to say that is it's going to be another chapter of Spinazzola's career, and I don't think that he should be in Rome anymore. I think it's his time to move on. Look, this is the highest level of football. Roma were in the Europa League final last season. This is the the second highest. But you know what I'm trying to say is that you need to be essentially in your prime really to get by. And I think that Spinazzola's best years are behind him. I think he was a valiant player for many years for this club, but now it's time to move on. He's also, look, mathematically, he doesn't make sense. High wages, lower, but middle-ish value. You can still get a bit of a transfer fee for Spinazzola, but doesn't really have the output, especially compared to his salary. It's time to move on. What do you guys think? LB's here says another game where Roma should have taken advantage. Just like last spring, if you remember, Roma could have easily gotten top four, but it was something Serie A hadn't seen in a decade with the amount of top points. Mourinho getting tossed is not something Roma can afford at any point. I was a little bit disappointed with Mu to go ahead and get that red card. He knew at the very end he was on such a tight rope. The referee turned to him at one point, and that was his final warning. That was around the 89th or 90th minute. But then he kept talking, and it amounted to nothing. Roma gains nothing from that. It wouldn't have made a difference. It didn't make a difference. So, look, I think Mourinho got a lot of things right today with this patchwork that he needed to do. But as far as the social aspect of his game today and his planning, he lost control. And now that means that Roma is going to be without their manager against Milan next Sunday. And that stinks. And LB says, though, that's what Mourinho does. It's the most important games coming up. He gets tossed. Second highest paid manager. And it's literally, check the data, missed more than 10% of his games coached. So that's kind of something which goes around. Look at this comment from Marco. I hope he's still in here. He says, we're all going to blame. Who cares about the sound? We all know you're going to blame everyone and everything else but the manager. Come on. Patrick Gomez says, it's fine. We are Roma, understand the usual stuff. We go with the flow. Angela goes back, says Roma needs stability around coaches, and I think that too. This is not going to be a walk in the park. Milan are an awesome team. Are they a great team? I don't think so. I think they've got a lot of holes in their play. Pioli is, to me, one-dimensional. if he has a dimension at all. I never know really what he's planning. I don't know his ironed out tactic, but to me, it's really depends a lot upon the individual players. Like when Milan were good, it's because their players were on point. It's because Teo was having a good season in Leao, and Giroud was 2 years younger. But now that seems to really have caught up with him quite a bit. Marco says Roma needs stability at the club. That's why Jose should get the foot in the groin and get him out. I wonder how people are going to think about that one. Okay, to Jose, no, probably, but leave. Wait, nah, sorry, I could take it. Roma need wingbacks. Another one of the many problems I foresee going into the summer. And Vincent says, I'm 100% ready to move on with Spinazzola, but do not want to see Zalewski starting. Same for me. I don't think Zalewski has it really. Part of me wants to let him grow. I look at Zalewski and I still see a boy. I see a player who could develop more, but one who often misses his opportunities, one who fails to make sometimes simple crosses and doesn't always get like a good foot on goal, doesn't have that eye for goal, isn't really gifted one-on-one. And I wonder truly, like, what is remarkable about Zalewski's play? What does he really offer? What is his main attribute? Is he just a good all-rounder on the left? And is he somebody who just doesn't make a lot of mistakes? Maybe that too, but defensively, I don't think he's strong. Move on from Spina. Haval says sell Karsdorp and Zalewski, get rid of Salik, bring on the Primavera. And I have to agree. I don't know Haval. This is his first time writing in, I think. But I want to say, like, if you want to get results, if you don't want the same results, but you keep on doing the same thing and you have the same players, and you're not really seeing tangible growth, you're not seeing anything remarkable, then I kind of do go in favor of these radical movements where, yeah, you know what? Sell Spinazzola this summer. Look to get rid of Karsdorp, Zalewski, and Salik. Maybe Karsdorp, I'm going to bite my tongue here. I'm going to say that's the one player that I think Roma should really keep as far as a wingback. I think he's perhaps maybe he's not great like at the level of being a player who could take Roma into the top four all by himself. I think there's other right wing backs out there who are much better, like Singo, who went from Torino, I think, to Monaco. Like, that was a player I really loved. But I think Karsdorp's a level under that, but he's still a good rotational player. He's still a player who fights for the shirt. So for me, out of these four players, I think that Karsdorp is the one, ironically, who deserves to stay. And I say ironically because you can recall the issue that he had with Mourinho last season. Matt asks, guys, what do you think is the main position that Roma need to improve upon? Kevin says it's wingbacks, but Roma's useless from the wings, yet spends so much of the possession back there. And it's a good point. Often when Roma recycle possession, and this happened a lot today, where the ball there's like a dead end, where Atalanta, or if you go back to last week, and Juventus pack it in, well, Roma then start to look around. They say, how can we get through? And their way through is they recycle it. They go from the right wing and they'll pass to the right back, who then goes to the center back, and then swing it around and they switch sides. And then it ultimately, like Matt points out here, it ends up at a wing back. But what good is it ending up at the wing back if your wing backs don't know what to do with the ball? That's so frustrating. So, like, as much as, look, there's some things I don't agree with Mourinho upon, but there's other things where I'm like, yo, these players, they don't have the individual skill to get beyond their mark. I don't know how. Before I say something mean, I'm just gonna move on here. But Vincent says, did you see that wild long shot Zalewski took today? Just so selfish, not a team player. Marco says he's going to Milan next week. Home Roma wins. Yeah, you enjoy yourself, Marco. You let us know how that goes. And you're welcome to join in on this channel at any time. Angelo says, what are your thoughts on extending with Dybala? There's two sides of me when I consider Dybala. I think of the player that I grew up loving from when he was at Palermo, the player today who was, and again, yet again, super clutch and nails the penalty, gets Roma the point, the player who makes the attack click completely. Without Dybala, Roma are not even one-dimensional. They don't even know what to do with the ball when Dybala doesn't play. It's kick it up and hope that your center forwards hold off the center back and look to flick it on to one another. I don't know how much of a strategy that is. So without Dybala, it's bad news. On the other hand, of Angelo's question here, I think about the physicality of him, and you got a player. How old is Dybala? 31. I'm going to say 30 off the top of my head. He's 30 years old. He just turned 30, November 15th. I know two other people with that birthday. That's also the date that Xbox came out in 2001. Why do I know that? I don't know. But 30 years old, his fitness is not going to improve over time. If he plays 70% of the matches this year, maybe next year he plays 65. Maybe it goes down to 60. Maybe he has a significant injury. Does that mean I want Roma to sell him? No. I want Roma to strengthen across the board. I want Dybala to be the cherry on top of the pie. Pie? Cupcake? Cake? Cake? Whatever. But that's how I see Dybala. Is Roma in that type of position? No. We know there's financial fair play. We know Roma do not have their stadium privately owned. We know that Monchi left a huge amount of mess here. So with Dybala, do I want him to extend? Yeah. Short answer to a long story. I do want him to extend with Roma because I don't know what they would do without him. Until there's an answer to that, you bring in Baldanzi from Empoli, who had a really. I don't think he's played the way that he knows how to this year. I think that's an effect because Empoli are a horrible side. This year they play really boring football. Their players are below average. They just lost again today. That was against Milan, I know. But at the same time, they've got I think one goal. Let me try to share this link here. No, it's not. Wait, yeah. Shift 4, Shift 6. Getting used to my hot buttons here. No, it's telling me that I'm sharing it, but like I said, I'm getting used to my new computer setup today. So, whatever. I'm going to just check without sharing it to you. Where is Empoli this season? Standings. I'm going to say they're 19th. Empoli, 19th spot. Yeah, 13 points. 3 wins. Okay. To be honest with you, that's 2 more wins than I thought they had. So there's that. Bring on the Primavera. Does Primavera have a player like Huijsen? Come on, let's be serious, except that Roma have a huge lack of talent. I don't know that they have these players. There's Joao Costa. He's only a name. We haven't really seen him play. If you look at Primavera videos, I think it's tough. It's tough to go on and say, hey, Roma should depend on this guy, this 18, 19-year-old. Why should they, play devil's advocate? Why should they go and loan Huijsen to do Juventus a favor? Yeah, I agree. But if there's not that player in the Primavera, then what do you do now? Quality issues. Roma running out of time. And Paul, I was thinking something along these lines too, because this was match day 19 and Roma are in 8th place. Now they're just 4 points out of 4th. Fiorentina have 33, and they held a team ahead of them. Atalanta have 30 points. That's 1 point ahead of them. Lazio too. So between Atalanta, Lazio, I think Bologna is going to continue to stutter. I don't think Fiorentina have the I can't stand keep using this word quality. I don't think they have it across the board in order to maintain that 4th spot, but they are quite deep. But as Paul says here, they're kind of like this 4th to 8th place team every year, and that's something that they got to get over. And I just don't know how you do that quickly when you can't make a big impression on the mercato. I think these things just take time. How impressed was I with Bove's last minutes? Dude, that pass he made was awesome. He came back to get the ball and then pivoted, he kept his balance, played it into Spinazzola. The ball ended on the foot of Lukaku, who then put it wide. Ciao, Alex. Alex, what's up, man? I hope you had a nice day out there today. Maybe you made it to New York. SO says, draw not good, but let's keep believing. I love the fight from the guys. Sometimes it does not go as you plan, and that's true too. I got my buddy in here sending me messages. My buddy Patrick. I'll tell you a little bit about Patrick. Him and I had a podcast back in the day. I know a lot of people use Roma Press's podcast. This was the same time that came out. I'm talking I don't know. We were 23, 10 years ago. We had so many problems with the software, we kind of gave up. But my buddy Patrick, he knows a lot about Roma, and he says, it's got a text from, you're a Mourinho loyalist. It's not true. I'm a Roma loyalist first, right? I'm a fan of the club, a fan of whatever's best for the team. Um, but I just always think that you can't blame Mourinho. Could other players do better with this batch? That's a good question. And I think managers like Spalletti, perhaps even Xabi Alonso now, could do a little bit better with this batch, but then go to the players that were given to Mourinho. Pinto did not help him at all. I mean, yes, you have these high profile names. You have Dybala, Lukaku. Yes, I know. But as far as the players that Mourinho needed to make his style work, that I don't think so. I think that the Coop Miners, the Granit Xhaka, that player never came. And that is someone that Mourinho has always relied on. He needs a Lampard. He needs a Makaleli. He needs um, a Drogba. And that's hard without, Drogba, of course. I know that's a sensational name there. But he needs guys that he can depend on for playing the way that he wants to. We're getting more messages from him on WhatsApp. Anyway, Soccer Hill Cure says Mourinho changed defenders means one was okay to him, no impressions and strikers today. Okay. Pellegrini lackluster. Yeah, another match where Lorenzo Pellegrini just doesn't do it, doesn't really contribute, is whatever. And I thought, speaking of whatever, also today, Lukaku. Overall, the team played pretty good. I thought that given the patchwork, given the omissions, Indika out to AFCON, putting in a player at halftime who arrived 2 days ago in the capital, or was it yesterday? I don't know, an 18-year-old who essentially made his Serie A debut. Look, that takes a lot of stones. So overall, I'm happy with the team. I'm going to run us through some of the play-by-play here. Let me just pull it up real quick. So in the second half, Zalewski gets a through pass from Pellegrini, but his cross is a second too early for Karsdorp. Once again, we see just off the mark for Zalewski. He cuts in a few minutes later. That's like the 50th minute, and the ball goes high and wide. I think that the people in front of the net would have liked some service there. Then Kolasinac hit Dybala, outmuscled him in the box. Those two were going at it for a lot of the game. 55th minute, Coop Miners gets a yellow for a foul on Bove. And then Huijsen almost scores from a dead ball opportunity. That's the 56th minute. And off of that play, Dybala tries a bicycle kick. Scamacca then scores, but that's called for a foul against Zalewski. That's, of course, waved off. 69th minute, Spinazzola gives away a bad foul against Holm. This is in a dangerous area. This was just after Spinazzola came on, but nothing came of it, luckily. 74th minute, card for Zappacosta. Studs were showing for a tackle as he went in against Bove, which was a dangerous play. And I think you probably could have seen a red card for that as well. So we speak about how many players should Atalanta have had at the end of this game. Probably more like 9. 82nd minute, this is the play I think we were talking about. Lukaku gets a pass from Dybala. Shot goes out for a corner, taken quickly by Dybala, goes back to him, recycled, but then faulted in possession. Roma's feet started to look heavy at that point. They were getting exhausted. 2 minutes later, El Shaarawy comes in for Dybala, and in the 90th minute, El Shaarawy takes home for a ride. He draws a foul. It was a good response from him being on the bench. And I'm just going to get caught up with some comments here. Okay. You sound like you were more loyal to Jose than to Roma. It's not the case. It's not the case, man. It is not at all. Let me explain myself, Marco. I have been a Roma fan for my whole life, right? And I think that there's been years where a player gets sold off, but then he's replaced by somebody who comes in. Menez comes in, right? Let's take an example. Shows attitude, shows maybe some goals, even if they don't have the attitude. Jeremy Menez is it's a perfect example of that. But the team was not being fleeced where they have to get these loanies in. Like the situation right now, if you take away the player and the kid, you have an 18-year-old who comes in, a loanee from Juventus, no option. These are not deals Roma made in the past. These are almost worrying. I wonder if there's something I don't know about. I look at Spinazzola, Zalewski, Selic. They don't really help the team in the sense that their technical ability is getting in the way of their possibility to contribute. So I get fed up. And how can I blame a manager when there's players who are making simple mistakes. And like I said, do I think other managers could get this batch of players further? I do. I think that certain aspects of Mourinho's game are antiquated. I think the match has evolved without him. Players like Xabi Alonso, who have become managers, and Thiago Motta, who were understudies of him. Look, who's going to beat you better than the Persian within your own walls? Better than the knight, your King's Guard. So for there to be a King Slayer, that's somebody who learned all about the king himself, knew his weaknesses as well as his strengths. Those are the up and coming managers, the pupils of Jose, who I think are going to be the next great managers. And because Mourinho didn't really evolve, I think those tactics have become one more popular. And by popular, I mean to our eye, but also for the players who play them. But on top of that, hey, I saw Mota get the best of Mourinho, and I think that is a sign of the future. Look, guys, I have to say that the game has definitely evolved. So let me know what you think about that. We're gonna run through a couple more comments here, my friends. We'll run until I think 45. We're at 36 now. Dybala gets the goal, right? But did lack a little bit of that final touch. Mirko is in here. Mirko, you and Marco are probably going to have some words. I'm going to guess two Serbians. So a tactically perfect match. You've got Mirko, who loves Mourinho, and Marco, who's anti. Let's see what happens now. A tactically perfect match. This is an excellent setup by Mourinho. Bove man of the match. I agree with you. Bove man of the match. Midfield perfect, far from perfect for a defensive view. That I don't know, Marco, and this concerns me. I don't like the fact that Mourinho puts Dybala so far out wide, a la Messi, the way that like Messi would often hang out on the wing and then play a 1-2 with his teammates, cut in, take on 3-4 guys, and score a goal. I do not like the fact that Dybala gets pinned into these holes. I think that there needs to be, I would like to see a modification into his role. Will it be under Mourinho? I'm not so sure. Mirko says the ball went from foot to foot. Zalewski and Spinazzola had all the time in the world. But we had the last good cross from the left side of 2018. We have a lack of quality, and it's costing us. Christensen was very good. Marco disagrees with me, says we do have quality. Some, but other areas are lacking. I think a lot of people are right today. It's not just Mourinho lovers versus people who want to see the manager out. I think there's a lot of truths today that are being touched upon. Lukaku, hard touch, yeah. He has to talk. Okay, so LB says, I have to talk up Jose or the sick Jose cult will cancel him since they're the only ones incapable of having a discussion. To them, Mourinho is Jesus. They aren't Roma fans, but Jose fans. All right, whatever. This is a pure lack of quality to close the match. So I don't feel obliged to keep the Mourinho fans, people who come over to this channel, happy. I just think that if we want to look at a villain, it's not Mourinho. And I think that when you look at truths, there's a pie, and there's sections of that pie. There's percentages. It's a pie graph. And when you start to have scapegoats, that's when you have problems. Because if we want to talk about blame, why is Roma in 8th place? I think everybody's accountable. Everybody, manager, staff, training, players. You can only rise as a team. There's not going to be a magic wand. Look, Roma can't spend $1 in the Mercato. There is not going to be any magic wand that comes in here. I think this is a sub thread we didn't expect for today. That's pretty great. No, just joking. I do miss Azmoun. I want to see him play more. I wonder if Roma's going to do a little bit more. Zidane to me is like a guy who manages big personalities more than like a thematic tactician. Yeah, I do miss Azmoun for sure. Why the red from the ref? Jose was just showing pure passion. I don't know. But I think that he may have said something to the fourth man, to the guy who holds up the scoreboards and gets the guys in and out. But you can look at, I think that kind of to wrap things up today, you could look at this for two ways. Roma are 4 points from the bottom half of the table. Monza have 11, are in 11th with 25 points. Roma have 29. But Roma are also 4 points away from the 4th spot. So they're in this kind of purgatory. Is it heaven or is it hell? Is it the inferno or is it what's the last name of Dante's book? Paradiso. Is it Paradiso? It's far from that. I was saying Paradiso. Let me tell you guys, if this was Paradiso, Roma would be signing, pick your favorite player right now. But anyway, I'm gonna probably continue my if there is any luck today, I will continue my Game of Thrones rewatch. I'm getting a text from Patrick right now. King slayed by most Serie A coaches. Yeah. Paul says he's a pianist, so I do know what Wayne studied at Juilliard. Yeah. The coaching team seems to be missing quality to coach players to cross the eye. These are basic skills, though. You can't teach a player how to cross the ball. That's like That's like stuff you do growing up. This football 1-on-1. If you don't got it, bro, you don't got it. If you can't take a free kick, you ain't learning. I'm the guy that takes your free kick on your teams. I grew up taking them. Why? Because I used to practice by myself for hours. But if you don't know how to do it, trust me, brother. In your 20s, that ain't the time to learn. Mark says, I think this is probably going to be a lasting comment here. Do we agree that Jose needs 20 world-class players in order to make something happen? It sounds like a fact. I think Jose's bread and butter is built upon playing a certain way. And when you have a manager who won everything, who won the treble with a Serie A team nonetheless, then you need to find players as your sporting director. You need to give him the tools that he needs in order to succeed. And when you don't do that, and when you are Pinto and you get players who don't fit that profile, that to me was a big problem with Mourinho. And I do think that Pinto can say, I worked tirelessly, I brought this player in, we had financial fair play. Look, brother, your job is to scout. If you can't afford those players, you got to go find them. If you don't do your job at work and you don't have the resources, you got to figure out ways, right? That's what takes you to the next level. That's what Sabatini was so good at. That's why the cigarette smoking cowboy was quite talented at. Okay, last comment here. I really enjoyed the game today. Passion the players put in. It's what I love to see, even if the results are good. Totally agree. And Marco says that was 20 years ago. He didn't move 1 inch from that point. But so Mourinho's game, right, is defensive tournament style ball. That doesn't really evolve. That is a evergreen way of playing football. Italy has won many trophies like that. Roma got to the Europa League final playing like that, and the Conference League final, which they won. And Roma should have won the Europa League final playing like that. So to me, it's not that it's antiquated. It's that players and his understudies have found ways around it. But I don't think that just because that's the way he plays, that he needs 20 world-class players. He needs players who fit that mold. He needs connections between the defense and the midfield and guys who don't need to be versed in every simple thing, what to do when you're in the opponent's final third. Okay, Soccer says, you don't let this guy play for his national team in the Asian Cup simultaneously. Don't let him contribute even a single minute. This is weird. I'm not sure what the story with Osman is. But guys, I think there was a lot of points raised today in this conversation. I think we are making progress as a whole. I'd like to believe. Let me know your comments and let me know what you think about today's game. And I guess Chief, who's going to have the last comment here, doesn't think it's quality. Bove doesn't have more quality than Spina, but he is a better Jose player than him. Another interesting take. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go check up on the fam. I'm going to get the Mourinho press conference out and translated on Twitter. You know what that is. That's, Wayne and Rome on Twitter. Just Google it if you don't know. Just comes up right. Yeah, other good stuff out on Twitter today too. At the very end, now this is something which the online community, I think, is going to have a problem with, some of us. The Curva Sud and the Stadio Olimpico is so behind Jose. At the very end, when he's red carded, la 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 la, Jose Mourinho, la 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 la, Jose Mourinho, right? They're singing it. So there is a testament right there as to who the fans in Rome support. I agree too. I'm going to end on that comment. Bove, man of the match. Bye, guys. Talk to you probably tomorrow. Do a little, top quotes from the Mourinho press conference, and we'll wrap up the game in probably under 10 minutes if you don't want to. Marco. Bye.